I honestly never thought I'd end up posting here, but I've been lurking on this subreddit for months, reading other people's stories and telling myself, at least my marriage isn't that bad. Turns out, I was lying to myself harder than my wife was lying to me. I'm 34. My wife, Jenna, is 32. We've been together for almost 9 years, married for 6. No kids, just a tiny apartment, 2 annoying cats, and what I thought was a decent life. We weren't some perfect Instagram couple, but I genuinely believed we were solid. We used to stay up until 2 a.m. talking about stupid stuff, binge terrible reality shows, make fun of each other constantly. She had this sharp personality that used to feel exciting, confident, blunt, a little mean sometimes, but funny enough that people let it slide. Lately, though, everything felt off. It started small. She became weirdly protective of her phone, like taking it into the bathroom every single time, tilting the screen away from me, smiling at messages, and then instantly acting irritated when I asked what was funny. And Jenna was never subtle when she lied. That's the crazy part. She'd come home late and say things like, "Work kept me," but then I'd notice she still smelled like perfume and cigarettes even though nobody at her office smokes. I'd ask simple questions and get attitude in return. Why are you interrogating me? Do you seriously have trust issues now? You're being paranoid. That word, paranoid, became her favorite weapon. Meanwhile, she started picking fights over absolutely nothing. One night she screamed at me because I forgot to buy oat milk. Another night she accused me of emotionally neglecting her because I fell asleep during a movie. But then, out of nowhere, she'd become overly affectionate. Like suspiciously affectionate. Random gifts. Sudden compliments. Grabbing my hand in public after treating me like garbage all week. It messed with my head. I kept thinking maybe she was stressed. Maybe I was overreacting. Maybe marriage just gets ugly sometimes and nobody talks about it. Then came the business trip. Or at least, what she claimed was a business trip. So Jenna tells me she has to go to Chicago for 3 days because her company is meeting with investors. Cool. Whatever. I even drove her to the airport at 5 in the morning like some loyal golden retriever husband. And this is where things start getting insane. The first weird thing? She barely texted me the entire trip. That alone was unusual because Jenna lived on her phone. Even when we fought, she'd still send me TikToks or random memes. But suddenly she was too busy. Second weird thing, she kept turning off her location. Not permanently, just randomly. Like it would disappear for 2 hours, come back, disappear again. When I asked her about it, she immediately got defensive. Why are you tracking me? It's creepy. My phone is dying. 3 different excuses in 10 minutes. By day 2, I had this pit in my stomach I couldn't explain. You know that feeling where your brain already knows the truth, but your heart is desperately trying to catch up? Yeah, that. Then something happened that completely shattered me. Around midnight, I got a notification on our shared credit card account. We had alerts turned on because we were trying to budget better. The charge was for a restaurant. Not in Chicago. In my own city. At first I thought maybe the notification was delayed or bugged. But no, the timestamp was current. And it wasn't just any restaurant either. It was this expensive rooftop place downtown Jenna always said was overrated. I literally stared at my phone for like 5 straight minutes. Then I called her. She answered sounding irritated immediately, like I was interrupting something. What? I asked her where she was. Chicago. Obviously. I told her about the restaurant charge. Silence. Not confusion. Not surprise. Just silence. Then she laughed. Actually laughed. Oh my God, that's from last week. The charge just processed late. Instant answer. Too instant. I wanted to believe her so badly that I almost accepted it. But something in her tone felt rehearsed. Cold. Like she'd expected to get caught eventually and already had excuses lined up. After we hung up, I checked the restaurant's Instagram page because apparently I enjoy emotionally torturing myself. Their latest story was from that night. And in the background of one video, sitting at the bar for maybe half a second, was Jenna, laughing, with some guy touching her leg. I don't even remember putting my shoes on. 1 second I was sitting on the couch replaying that Instagram story over and over like a psychopath, and the next I was driving downtown at midnight running red lights like I was in some bad movie. Part of me still thought there had to be an explanation. Maybe it was a coworker. Maybe I misunderstood what I saw. Deep down though, I already knew. By the time I got to the restaurant, my hands were shaking so badly I could barely hold my phone. I stood outside for maybe 30 seconds trying to convince myself not to go in. Then I saw her through the window. Jenna. Wearing the black dress, she told me she packed for networking events. She was sitting close to this guy, laughing in that fake soft voice she used whenever she wanted something. His hand was on her thigh like it belonged there. And then she kissed him. I swear to God, it felt physical, like someone hit me in the chest with a bat. I walked in before I could think rationally. The second Jenna looked up and saw me, all the color drained from her face. The guy immediately pulled his hand away and looked confused as hell. For maybe 5 seconds, nobody spoke. Then Jenna did the most Jenna thing imaginable. She got angry. Not guilty. Not ashamed. Angry. What the hell are you doing here? Like I was the problem. I asked her if she was seriously asking me that right now. And this woman, my wife of 6 years, rolls her eyes and says, "You're embarrassing me." Embarrassing her. The guy looked between us like he wanted to disappear into another dimension. Finally, he asked, "Wait, you're married?" Jenna instantly switched personalities. Oh my God, it's complicated. Complicated. That word almost made me black out. I asked the guy if he knew she had a husband. He said no. Said she told him we were separated and basically divorced. Jenna snapped at him immediately. "Don't start acting innocent now." Then the argument exploded. Right there in the restaurant. People were staring. One waitress literally stopped walking just to watch us. Jenna kept trying to drag me outside while hissing at me through clenched teeth like some movie villain. And that's when the second bomb dropped. The guy looks at me and says, "Dude, she told me she was staying with me all weekend." Weekend. Not one night. Not a mistake. A full fake business trip so she could play house with another guy 5 miles from our apartment while I thought she was in Chicago. I think something inside me broke at that exact moment. I wish I could say I handled it calmly. I didn't. The second he said, "all weekend," I just started laughing. Not normal laughing either. The kind where you sound completely unhinged because your brain can't process reality anymore. Jenna grabbed my arm and whispered, "Can you stop making a scene for 5 minutes?" That sentence still makes my blood boil. I pulled my arm away and asked her one simple question. "How long?" She crossed her arms immediately. Defensive mode activated. "It's not what you think." Which, according to every cheating story ever written, means it's exactly what you think. I asked again, "How long?" She sighed dramatically like I was exhausting her. "A few months. A few months." Meanwhile, this guy suddenly looked horrified. Like he was realizing he accidentally joined the worst possible Netflix drama. Then Jenna started lying so fast I could barely keep up. First she said they only kissed. Then she admitted they slept together. Then she claimed it happened once. Then the guy quietly said, "Jenna." And she screamed at him, "Shut up." Everyone in the restaurant went dead silent. The guy finally stood up and looked at me with this expression I'll never forget, half guilt, half pity. He said, "Man, I think you should know she's been seeing other people too." Plural. People. I literally felt dizzy. Jenna instantly started yelling that he was lying because he was obsessed with her. She kept talking over everyone, changing stories every 30 seconds. But once the floodgates opened, everything started pouring out. Apparently, this wasn't just one affair. There was a coworker 6 months ago, some guy from her gym, and now this dude. At one point she actually said, "Well, maybe if you paid attention to me." That's when I snapped. Not physically, but emotionally. Completely. I asked her if she understood what she'd done to me. Asked her if she had any idea what it feels like to spend months questioning your sanity while the person you trust most keeps calling you paranoid. And for the first time all night, she looked uncomfortable. Not sad. Not remorseful. Just uncomfortable that consequences had finally shown up. I left before I completely lost control of myself. I could hear her yelling my name as I walked out, but I didn't turn around. I sat in my car for over an hour in total silence. No music. No phone. Nothing. Just me staring through the windshield feeling like my entire life had been replaced by someone else's nightmare. Then at 2:13 a.m. my phone buzzed. A text from Jenna. "Are you done being dramatic?" That text absolutely destroyed whatever tiny piece of hope I still had left. Not because she cheated. Not even because there were multiple guys. But because in that moment I realized Jenna genuinely did not think she'd done anything unforgivable. In her mind, my reaction was the real issue. I drove home around 4 a.m. and she was already there somehow, sitting on the kitchen counter drinking wine like we were about to have some casual adult conversation. The second I walked in, she started talking. Fast. like she'd rehearsed the whole speech during the drive home. You've been emotionally distant. We haven't been happy for years. I didn't plan for this to happen. You pushed me away. Every cliché imaginable. At one point she actually started crying, but it felt strange, almost performative, like she wanted sympathy without accountability. Then came another twist I never saw coming. She admitted she'd quit her job 2 weeks earlier. Remember the business trip? The late meetings? The investor dinners? None of it was real. I just stared at her trying to process how deep the lies actually went. Then she suddenly switched tactics again. You're not perfect either, you know. I laughed because honestly, what else do you do at that point? Then she hit me with the sentence that changed everything. If you divorce me, I'll ruin your life. And just like that, every feeling I still had for her died. I didn't sleep at all that night. My brother told me, you need a lawyer. Today. By noon, Jenna was acting completely normal again, even suggesting we reconnect. I opened her laptop later while she was in the shower. I found folders labeled evidence, manipulation, abusive behavior, screenshots, edited videos, out of context recordings of me. She was building a case against me. My lawyer later said, this is becoming serious. Then I got a message. If you think this is over, you're going to regret it. And later, you made me do this. She filed false claims. I got served. She escalated narratives. Then something shifted. Her own contradictions started collapsing. A coworker reached out. She didn't quit. She was fired. She was dating multiple people. She used your identity in financial stuff. My lawyer said, she's overplaying her hand. Then she showed up outside my brother's place. Not screaming. Calm. I don't want this to get worse. But it was already out of control. Eventually, everything moved to legal structure. No more direct contact. Just silence. Then a year later, I got a message. I'm not trying to reopen anything. I just want to apologize properly. And later, I understand now why you left. I didn't respond. Because I didn't need to anymore. Eventually, I got a letter. I hope your life is quieter than mine was. And I realized something important. Closure isn't when someone explains everything. It's when you stop needing them to. Now my life is quiet. And I don't confuse that with emptiness anymore. It's just peace. And that's enough.